Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to give you a little sneak peek of our dairy cows that will be coming home this weekend. This is Miss Penny, and the calf that will be coming home with her is Peaches. She was just born last week and is completely adorable. I will be filming the process of bringing them home this weekend, and I will share that with you Sunday or Monday. So last week I decided to make NoKnead overnight bread. It's one of my family's favorite recipes for bread, and I did something a little different this time. Normally I make it with half all-purpose flour and half freshly ground wheat, but this time I decided to use freshly ground einkorn flour. This is what it looked like the next day after sitting and rising and kind of fermenting overnight. It's so simple. I will put the recipe in the description box below, and this was the finished product. The flavor was absolutely amazing. Honestly, my favorite way to eat this NoKnead bread, which has more of a rich flavor to it than regular sandwich bread, is to simply slice it up and dip it in olive oil and balsamic vinegar like you would at an Italian restaurant. It's delicious. Now it's time to finally make Grandma Dean's chicken and dressing. Now, I don't have a Grandma Dean. This is an old Southern Living recipe, and it's amazing. It tastes like Thanksgiving in the crock pot. It's so good. So what I'm doing here is first making a double batch of cornbread. It calls for 6 cups of crumbled cornbread. So I just make a double batch of Jiffy cornbread mix. While the cornbread bakes, I'm going to go ahead and chop up. This is half of a rotisserie chicken. I believe the recipe called for 3 or 4 cups of chopped rotisserie chicken. I will include the link to the entire recipe in the description below. But of course, using rotisserie chicken makes this really convenient and quick. Next, I am finely dicing what is already diced frozen celery. This was the last of my quart bags of chopped frozen celery in our freezer in the laundry room. And I just wanted to chop it up even finer so that hopefully I will not get a reaction from my children who are a little more on the picky side. If they see anything green, red flags go up. This recipe also calls for 8 slices of white bread. Well, we don't have any white bread in our house, so I am slicing up some of this NoKnead bread that I made the day before, and we still had about a third of the loaf left. So my plan was just to thinly slice this and then kind of cube it up or rip it into small chunks. There's no way this could go wrong. It's going to provide a little more depth of flavor, and it's going to be a binding agent just like regular white bread would be. Next, I'm making one last attempt to finely dice the celery. You add cream of chicken, some chicken broth, a few eggs, and then add your cooled cornbread and mix it all together really well before adding it to your greased crock pot. The last thing you do before putting the lid on your crock pot is topping your casserole with cold cubed butter. Now you put the lid on your crock pot and you can put it on low for 6 to 7 hours or on high for 3 to 4 hours. My favorite way to serve this to my family is with a side of cranberry sauce and a vegetable. My next project for this day was to clean out the greenhouse. I posted on Instagram, I can't believe I have the ability to turn an entire greenhouse into a junk drawer. It was such a mess. It was kind of a catch-all over the last several months. Lots of pots that need to be cleaned out and organized, some that needed to be thrown away because they were dry rotted, and all of these fall and winter crops that were still growing pretty successfully in these pots here on the right. Believe it or not, it only took about 45 minutes to get this whole place whipped into shape. It was nice to get all of my pots organized. Now, I didn't clean or disinfect anything yet as far as pots, but it feels great to get it all organized. All that pile in the back there that you see, that's cardboard and old chicken feed bags, which are basically just like massive brown paper bags. We will use those to put down in the vegetable garden this year to help with weed control. And then this whole empty shelf is just waiting for seedlings. We are so thankful that our chickens have really picked up their laying again. We are averaging anywhere from 15 to 18 eggs a day. We are selling 3 dozen eggs a week to one of our neighbors, but my goal for the next couple of weeks is to start going ahead and water glassing our excess clean eggs so that we have more of a stockpile of eggs for next winter. We definitely did not have enough this winter, and we ended up having to put artificial light out in the coop about a month and a half ago to get them laying again. Because when you are paying to feed 30-something chickens, you do not want to go to the store to spend $6 or $7 on a dozen eggs. I started our first seedlings, which was 2 big trays of tomatoes and peppers, about 2 weeks ago, which was about 8 or 9 weeks before our last average frost. I get these empty 72-cell Pro Hex trays from Walmart for about $5, and usually I can get them to last me at least 2 years before I have to replace some of them. I started 2 more trays of seeds this morning, and I look forward to starting even more in about 2 weeks, and the rest of my seeds will probably be direct sown. I've never planted rhubarb before, but I'm a huge fan of edible perennials, and I love following Becky over at Acre Homestead, and she has some pretty inspiring recipes using the rhubarb from her old homestead, so I'm really looking forward to growing it for the first time this year. I was also very excited to pick up 6 bags of seed potatoes. We had our best potato harvest ever last year. And while we still have a handful of quarts left from where we pressure canned some of our cubed potatoes, we have been out of fresh eating potatoes for quite some time, and I really want to grow even more potatoes this year. Speaking of potatoes, are you aware that you can do mashed potatoes in the Instant Pot so quick and easy? We just peel ours, cut them in half, cover them with water, and we put the Instant Pot on high for 8 minutes. When the timer goes off, we turn the Instant Pot off and we manually release the pressure. I like to throw a cloth napkin over my pressure release valve so all that potato starchy steam doesn't gunk up my glass pendant lights above my island. Very carefully drain your potatoes, mash them up however you like. I like to use a manual potato masher and then an electric handheld mixer. We add heavy cream, butter, salt, pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder, and they are the best mashed potatoes you'll ever eat. Taking a peek at what is still left in the greenhouse, we've got this beautiful little head of green cabbage. There is a head of broccoli that has not quite finished maturing yet, and then these little side shoots of broccoli, which are growing off the sides of some of the plants we've already harvested. I'm so excited to bring you along with us to the farm this weekend as we bring our cows home. This is something that has been years in the making. We have been getting to know this farmer over the last 8 months, and it's a pretty big deal for our family. Thanks for watching.